Hello, guys, and welcome to Rift Talks, a video series brought to you by LevelUp eSports that will focus on all the news and information for WildRift in India. I'm your host Bhishi, and let's get into what we will be covering for this episode. Right, guys? So this episode is going to be broken down into various topics. Let me go through each of them. Firstly, we're going to talk about tournaments, what all tournaments happened in the last month and who won them. We'll talk about everything regarding that. Then comes roster updates, right? Which team got disbanded, which team got rebanded, who shifted players, who went where, who are the strongest teams right now will also be covered. Post that, we'll talk about some community updates on WildRift in India as well as the game updates. What are the new champions, new features that are releasing that we've seen? And lastly, we'll also be talking about all the upcoming tournaments that you can participate in for WildRift. Alright, let's get started right away. The first tournament I want to talk to you about is going to be the India Bangladesh Wild Rift Regional Showdown. This tournament got together the best 5 teams from India and the best 5 teams from Bangladesh in an epic tournament format that pitted themselves against each other to find out who is the best team. While we did see a lot of amazing matches throughout the tournament, a bit of upsets here and there, it ultimately came down to Team AOT from India versus Team KOG King of Gamers from Bangladesh, who both ended up becoming in the finals. KOG kind of became like the Indian slayers of the tournament because they were the only Bangladeshi team to actually beat most other Indian teams heading into it. They were able to beat Aesthetic X, Retribution, and a host of other teams as well. Along with that, we also had AOT, right? The powerhouses on the other side. So it came up to be an exciting finale, but it was AOT at the end of the day who took the series 3-1 in this best of 5 and cemented their position as becoming definitely the current best team in South Asia for WildRift. So there's a lot at grabs, and it was supremely well played by the squad of AOT to get that victory. Moving on, we also had the LevelUp Champions Rising tournament, a WildRift event dedicated for all the amateur and upcoming teams from India alone. This was a very specific tournament catered to grow the scene in India, and what we did see from it was a lot of great amateur teams did participate, but ultimately it was Obscene Elite who ended up winning the tournament and taking away the prize. So we also had LevelUp eSports who came in a very strong second place as well. So congratulations to Obscene Elite who have now been acquired by Sparkles eSports, as well as LevelUp eSports who have also been acquired by Rampage eSports for that matter. Surprising how they both got acquired, but I guess that's natural progression. When an amateur team does well, they get acquired. So we are already seeing these things happen. I'm very excited to actually hear how they will end up doing in the upcoming tournaments. Moving on, we finally saw the culmination of the Relics Rifters Cup as well, where the finals was between Team ECC versus Team Demons Force from Bangladesh, and ECC made quick work of that final and they won the tournament as well, putting one of the biggest victories that they've had in the Wild Rift history for them as well. Now that they've been acquired by Esports Hub, we're looking forward to seeing how they do well, but this tournament victory does mean a lot to these guys, considering it's their first big tournament snatching win. So congratulations to ECC and all the members for that victory. And lastly, we just saw the end of the LevelUp SEA Cup, which basically featured amazing teams from all across SEA and from India as well. We had Bren Esports, Galaxy Racers, Nova.ph, everyone being a part of it. But when all was said and done, we had Chasing Dreams who ended up facing against Lakan Esports in the finals, and they had a very, very interesting finals, but it was Chasing Dreams who won the finals 2-1 in this best of 3 and chased their dreams to win the LevelUp SEA Cup. So congratulations to Chasing Dreams for giving us a great spectacle and for winning the tournament. Now let's talk about roster updates, because as you know, the Wild Rift scene is basically filled with teams rebanding, disbanding, joining new teams over and over again. This keeps happening every month. I myself have become the HR of TGT because how many weeks every month I have to keep replacing my own members. So yeah, this is a very common thing that happens, but let's talk a little bit more about that. Starting with a big news would potentially be AEX disbanding. Aesthetic X were once heralded as the best team in Wild Rift India, right? From February to March, the run they had where they kept winning every weekend rift for every major tournament, they were unstoppable. But ever since Shinex and Ash official left the roster, it's just not quite been the same for the squad themselves. Now, while they did try to redeem their positions through Aesthetic X Retribution, which to their name were the retributing or the redeeming factor for AEX as a squad, which did well in a couple of tournaments, ultimately both rosters ended up disbanding purely due to lack of performances from them in the henceforth. Now these members are part of various different teams or as working as free agents, and Aesthetic X is not currently fielding a WildRift roster. And moving on, we also saw ECC getting acquired by Esports Hub, which not only took all of the players but also took the manager, and now the entire roster of ECC is now under Esports Hub. They've been doing quite well in the scene as well, and I think with a new organization under them, they should look to work on their skills and keep improving forward. Additionally, Frolic Esports also got acquired by Rampage, and some of the members of Aesthetic X Retribution also ended up joining the new Rampage Esports. So now you have a roster with Kale and Beyonder from Aesthetic X Retribution working with people like Reckless from Frolic Esports to make a roster, and Stark as well, obviously, who is part-time jungling at this point for them. So let's see how that works out for them. But that's a very exciting and promising roster that we also are looking forward to seeing. And old team coming back in the scene has also happened, with Clap Them Cheeks, once famous for being one of the top teams in India around the November-December time, have certainly made the roster comeback happen with some talented squad members like Curem, Neville, and a few more join the squad. And this is a very promising team that is going to cause some ripples in the WildRift India scene. And currently the scene seems to be a bit dominated by AOT right here. So with all of these new acquisitions, let's see if any of these teams can give AOT a run for their money in the WildRift tournaments. And obviously TGT themselves, TGT have gotten in Kid and Venki to be a part of the roster, along with Snowy, who is now their mid laner. Wade is still a part of the team but is on a temporary break, with the bot lane being the same with Prophet and Yash Kusher. Like a very promising lineup as well. It should be interesting to see how this roster squares off against the best of the best in WildRift India as well. Well, that's it from the roster update side. We will have more updates for you in the next episode, because as you know, change is the only constant here, and these teams and players will keep on changing faster than we can probably say let's go Baron. So yeah, moving on to community and game updates, let's talk a bit more of some of our players who have actually achieved some of the highest ranks in WildRift. Yes, I'm talking about people actually reaching masters and grandmasters in WildRift from India. And that's an amazing achievement. I want to specifically highlight two people in this video, which will be specifically Kale, who is a marksman for Aesthetic X Retribution, now playing for Rampage Esports. He has been Grandmaster for the longest time. He is a marksman player, plays extremely well. And joining him in that Grandmaster position is also going to be Mr. Crowley OP from AOT, who, really spent a lot of time grinding in this game and has deservingly reached the Grandmaster rank. So congratulations to both of them. Apart from that, a lot of other talents from our country have also reached the Master rank, and let's talk a bit more and let's name some of these amazing names. Right, we have Asuran, we have Wade, we have Noxy, we have Mad Moba YT, we have RLX Vegeta, we have iTortoise, and we have Badsha. And I might be missing a couple more names, but these are some of the names off the top of my head that I know that have reached Masters in Season 2 already. I myself am struggling at Diamond 2. Hopefully I'll get there soon, but I'm really happy to see a lot of these amazing people work their ass off and get to a master rank. So congratulations to you guys as well. In other community news, we also saw the finale of the streamers battle brought to you by Esports Hub, where Team Bhishi, yep, that's me, faced off against Team Wade in a best of 3 finals, and you guessed it, Team Bhishi clapped Team Wade 2 and won in the series. And my team, I have to credit all of them for the victory. They will win a skin of their choice brought to you by Esports Hub. And basically all I want to say to Wade and Team Wade is, guys, you tried well, but at the end of the day, it's an easy clap for me because Team Bhishi is awesome. So congratulations to me and my team for doing a great job in winning the streamers battle. In further updates about tournaments, so the WildRift India Discord has successfully completed 5 months of the Weekend Rift Wars. For people who don't know, Weekend Rift Wars is a weekly tournament series where the first 3 weeks of a month are dedicated towards individual tournaments, with the last week of the month, or aka the 4th week, culminating with the best of the 3 weeks that are played before that. Currently, over 5 months, WildRift India has conducted Weekend Rift Wars more than 20 times, which itself is an achievement and is one of the longest standing WildRift India tournaments that we've seen so far. So a pat on the back to everyone from the WildRift India Discord team, Primezor, Rebel J, everyone else for doing a great job at this, and we hope to see more of these tournaments coming in as well. So that's it from the community side. Let's talk about some game updates, right? So just to start the game updates with a bit of controversy, we recently saw the Wild Rift India Instagram page talk about a big update on their Instagram story where they said they have news about the release date of India, and this got a lot of people very excited. The hype grew, the screenshots were shared everywhere, and the video was released the next day where a person spoke about having credible sources being close to it that the Wild Rift game could potentially be coming maybe in the last quarter, financial quarter of 2022, which potentially could be Jan to Feb. Now, the thing is, there is no viable source to these updates. These are just words of someone who said they have credible sources, quote unquote. So you can take that information with a grain of salt, but it definitely did get a lot of ripples because the storyline and the video itself ended up becoming a very big talking point amongst the Wild Rift India community. So let's wait and see what happens. But that was definitely something that was worthy of being highlighted because so we were all very excited for it, and it sort of became like, yeah. Well, speaking of India release dates, right? So everyone keeps asking me कि भाई India में कब release होगा, Wild Rift India में कब release होगा. And as much as I would love to answer your question, I really don't know. Right, so I'm as foggy as you are on the release date of Wild Rift India. All I know is that it's definitely coming, but when is something it's hard to say. I know that it's been a frustrating experience for everyone to keep waiting for Wild Rift, but क्या कर सकते guys, situation ही ऐसी है. Let's just keep playing, let's just keep waiting. All I know is once the game does come, right, we'll do a great job of the game, marketing game, and we will be able to play in very good ping, and a lot of esports events will keep happening once the game launches. So fingers crossed, and let's hope and let's pray to the gods that right that they listen to our requests and prayers and they can hopefully release the game very shortly. But I don't know, so don't keep asking me. I really don't know. And talking about game updates, Riot in their recently released dev diary have shown the next 4 champions to be released in Wild Rift, and boy am I excited to hear those. To start off, Irelia, Riven, Senna, and Lucian will be releasing in Wild Rift in the coming months. Now, to talk a bit more about Irelia and Riven, they both are Baron Lane champions who are bruisers. They can potentially also go mid, but they are some of the most fun champions to play for a Baron laner. Personally, I'm very excited because it's a mechanically demanding both of them are mechanically demanding champions who require some level of games to get to their skill sets, and the kind of things they can do in games is just beautiful to watch. So keep an eye out on Riven using her combos similar to how you would play a Street Fighter character, where it's all about the combos, and with Irelia it's about making sure you're utilizing her passives, her stacks, and just being extremely mobile with dashing in and dashing out combination. So they are champions, a lot of flair, a lot of mobility, a bit broken if I may add if the numbers seem strong, so keep an eye on those. We also have Senna and Lucian releasing, who are basically husband wife material in the bot lane. Lucian's a marksman who can technically go in the mid lane, can also go in the Baron lane. He can pretty much go anywhere he wants to, and he is a very mobile marksman similar to how you've seen Ezreal, where he has a dash. His abilities and his cooldowns are super fun to play with, and accompanying him in that bot lane will be his wife Senna, who when paired with Lucian make a very lethal combination in the bot lane. And Senna herself is a marksman support. Yeah, that kind of category also exists where, she is a range champion who does have a lot of damage while playing support as well. And she works on a soul stacking concept where the more souls you end up taking, the bigger range you get. And it's just really fun to play that champion. Her ultimate gives a lot of utility as well. Shields and stuns and a lot of different things are available in her kit as a whole. So bot lane and Baron lane in the next few months are definitely going to get changed a lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. So make sure you guys follow dev updates and follow the game, because these new champions are going to break the meta in some amazing ways. We also have a lot of amazing tournaments coming your way. Starting off with the WildRift Asia Battle Season 1. Prize pool of this tournament is a whooping INR 10k. There's also going to be a WildRift Super League, which is essentially an IPL style type of a tournament with 6 different cities participating. The whole format is not yet revealed, but it does sound very exciting and something which has 11,000 prize pool as well. So something to look forward to as well. Apart from that, Level Up will continue with another tournament called the LUC, the Level Up Cup Majors, which will feature all the T1 teams from WildRift India competing together to determine who is the best team. Can AOT be finally dethroned this month is something a lot of people will be wondering, and that's where this tournament, along with a host of other tournaments, will give us an idea if that's going to happen or not. So make sure you guys look forward to that, participate in that as well. And last but not the least, there's a very, very big surprise coming your way, courtesy of the WildRift India community. There is something amazing planned for an esports. I'm not gonna reveal everything in this video yet, but a lot of amazing esports events planned for you. And if you wanted to get an experience of a WildRift esport in India, right? Because you see SCS series, SC Icon series, or ESL series, and you want to, this is going to be something that will blow your mind. So make sure you keep following our socials, because right now I'm not going to reveal what it is, but just a few more weeks until we look and announce that. Well, that does it for this edition of Rift Talks, brought to you by LevelUp eSports, hosted by your very own Bhishi. We hope you had some fun and learned a bit more or two about the WildRift India scene. We plan to continue this as a series, so there will be more episodes to come, so there's more to look forward to. But until then, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, stay updated on WildRift news, because a lot of cool things are coming your way, and the Rift Talks will be your source of all information for WildRift in India. So stay tuned for more updates from us very, very shortly. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Pew, pew, pew. All right.